golden. Told you I'm shining. Had to break through. Plan perfect timing. Giving no hands. Go get it. Radix the ruler. Can't f with them peasants. Want to win pleasant. Envy the essence. Fuck about you. More about me. I come from the land that forgotten. That league of the shadows. My city like Gotham. But now I'm the man. You gon' hear this often. Stacking these gems. The boy ain't no option. All black like he gothic. But yet he still blossom. Desire to conquer. Ain't nothing gon' stop him.
What's good, y'all? Welcome to the Basement Sports Network, where you are witnessing history, as this is the very first episode of our brand new show called Witness Weekly, and also potentially, very slight possibility, this is the last episode. That depends how this goes today. I would tell y'all to leave a like, but don't do that. The video literally just started. You have no idea if you're going to like it yet. This could be the worst video that you've ever seen in your entire life. And can you imagine leaving a like on that? It just don't make no sense. But what I will ask is that y'all at least watch the video. And then if you like it, and only if you like it, feel free to leave a like, maybe a sub, maybe a little donation. If you are a big baller like that, because all the support is truly greatly appreciated. Anyways, I'm here today with my boy George, who's coming all the way from Australia. George, how we doing today, my boy?
We're doing good. We're not tired. We've been hyped for this. We've been talking about this for at least a week and a half, 2 weeks now, trying to get this all set up. Happy we're finally here, and let's make the most of it.
I'm not tired, but let's let everybody know that what time is it where you are coming from right now?
It's 8 o'clock in the morning. I've been
8 o'clock in the morning. So you woke up at what, 7 for this, and you're not tired?
6:30.
That's called, you know what I call that, George? I call that heat culture.
That's
I call
culture.
that dedication. I was just watching the Redeem Team documentary. Did you see that yet, George?
Hasn't come out yet.
Oh, well, in the States, it came out.
I'm joking. It's come out. Of course, I've watched it. It was amazing.
Yeah. And the one thing that I thought was funny is when Kobe was working at 4:30 in the morning, LeBron and Wade were there, and then Melo was like, 4:30? That's too early for me. Anyways, that's why Melo don't got a ring. George, you are not Melo. You are more like the LeBron of this network. Actually, I better not say that. They're going to hate that. Regardless,
I'm the
I appreciate
this network. I never sleep. We put the work in.
That is true. You do never sleep. That's why I picked you for the co-host. It was kind of process of elimination. Anyways, if y'all are wondering how these two white boys with the worst mustaches that you have ever seen got their own show on the Basement Sports Network, well, then you're in luck, because we actually have some behind-the-scenes video of how this kind of came about to be. So I'm going to go ahead and play that for y'all right now.
All right, we've already figured out how to do this.
Why are you guys so sweaty?
Please say yes.
You don't need permission from us to build
a show.
You're adults. You can do what you want.
So...
I'm not making myself clear. I don't give a fuck.
I do not give a fuck. I don't give a fuck what you're talking about.
We can? No?
Yes. Yes.
Sweet.
You can make fun.
I knew it.
Okay, you guys are not going to regret this. We're going to get so much more activities done.
This is the funnest night ever.
This is so scary.
George, what do you think of the video, man? If y'all don't know, that was actually George's idea, and he's been waiting a week to see it. So is it everything that you thought of?
It's everything and more. It's everything and more. I don't think I've ever been happier in my life to see a video come to life. That was a fever dream coming down and making me the happiest in the world. Thank you, Ant. Thank you for
Appreciate it, man. That's not exactly how it went down, but regardless, that's the exact personalities of Royal A. Shepherd and Anna Bry, who I do want to shout out for giving us this opportunity to. They're great guys, man.
They are pulling our show after this. You know that, yeah? They are pulling that show.
Let's see how it goes, man. We got our shout out our dog Prod by TV. He liked that little thing. What's up, man? My guy Caleb said, "Who is this needle drop Austin Rivers mofo on the left?" George, do you have any idea what the hell that means?
Look, all I know is I'm not on the left. That's all I know. That is you. He's talking to you.
That's funny. That's very true. Also, shout out our guy Joel Jacob from the Heat vs. the World podcast, who's telling Royal to take it easy on me. And Joel, little do you know, telling Royal to take it easy on me will only make him go that much harder. So I appreciate that, Mr. Joel Jacob. Anyways, let's get into some of the games for this week, man. George, I am not someone who puts that much stock into preseason. So how much were you paying attention this week? How much did you really take anything that you saw this week? Just kind of a general overall synopsis.
Look, me personally, the fact that Heat basketball's back, that's the most important thing. For me, any capacity of Heat basketball, I'm watching. I'm in there 100%. I'm taking notes as well. You have to be. Preseason really is like it's a blueprint for what the coach is thinking. It's a map into the mind of Spo, and any opportunity we have to really see what's happening is it's just perfect in my opinion. I know for a fact that Adam, not listening to you at all. I know for a fact that there's a lot of questions in regards to the acquisitions over the offseason and seeing some of the younger guys, some of the G League players coming in and balling out. It's just perfect for us. We have so much more to look forward to now in the season. Give names like Booyah. We got players like Jovic. We got players like Jamal Cain. We got plenty to talk about there. That's been fantastic to watch as well. Watching him perform at a high level is just great.
So, first of all, I do agree with that. One of the great things that we've seen so far is that this Miami Heat team has young guys out of nowhere that can ball. That is nothing new. That's something they do every year, and it's one of my favorite things about this team. And I do want to shout out our guy, Adam Barai, like you said, who said, "You both look terrible." Adam, I quite literally already said that, so you cannot take that from me. But we do appreciate the Super Chat donation there. Anyways, I do agree with you, George. I don't put too much stock into the preseason like I was saying, but a couple of things that I want to point out from each game. We'll start with the game versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. Is one note that I made for that game. I'm just curious your opinion on it because I've actually seen a couple differing things on Twitter. It's not too big a deal, but very early in that game, they called that new sideline celebration type rule. What's your opinion on that thing?
Horrible. In all seriousness, horrible. Because with what Bam did yesterday, if you saw yesterday when he was celebrating, he was standing up in his chair. Like his chair was there standing up. He got told off instantly. He's just looking at everyone like, what have I done? Like what's the problem? You can't stop people from celebrating. They don't want to sit in their chairs. If you've hit a game-winning three, and there's still time on the clock, and you're screaming like that, what are you going to do? Technical foul? What are you going to do? You're going to tech foul them and you lose them the game because he was celebrating? Horrible.
I highly doubt it's ever going to be called in that spot, though. But to be honest, I think this is one of those things they're going to emphasize in the preseason and then most likely never call it during the year just because that they do that when they institute new rules. Personally, I like the rule because it used to piss me off last year when LeBron James would take 10 steps on the court because Anthony Davis did something good 1 out of the 10 games he played. So, of course, LeBron was out there celebrating. Dude, you don't run the court. There's people out there playing the game. Stay your ass on the bench. Stay off the court. You can celebrate from there. That's personally why I like the rule.
You hate fun. This is what I hear right now. You hate fun.
Wait. I hate when LeBron has fun. I'm not even going to hold you. I hate when LeBron has fun. Well,
I can't believe what I'm hearing.
Also, from that Timberwolves game, the main topic of discussion probably from this whole 3 games in the preseason so far is Bam Adebayo hit a 3-pointer. Does that excite you or do you not care?
I never wanted him to shoot threes anyway. It doesn't bother me. I'm just absolutely joking. I've never heard a crowd be that hyped for any one given shot in any sort of preseason game ever. That was the single most hype moment ever because it shows that, look, he made it. But besides the fact that he made it or missed it, it's the intent was there. He knew that he was going to go in that game and say, you know what, I'm going to score or I'm going to shoot from 3. And throughout the season, he's going to do it. I reckon he's going to do it more than once a game. I feel like
he's just think so.
He's going to have to build a tendency. He's going to build a tendency, and he's going to stick to it because we want that development from him.
Yes, we do, and we've wanted it every year, and we have not seen.
He's going to give it to us.
Listen. Let me tell you why I think you're dumb. Just like I called everyone on the basement dumb when I did the post game, and they were getting on me. They thought that I was being a Bam Adebayo hater. I'm absolutely not. He's the most versatile defender in the NBA, and skillfully on offense, he's up there as well. But we just don't see that aggressiveness from him. And once out of every 10 games, he'll realize that nobody on the court can guard him, and he'll go out there and dominate like he did in that game or take, 18 to 22 shots a game. And then he won't do it for another 10 games. And I used to get sucked in every time he did it. And I'd say, this is it. This is Bam Adebayo finally realizing. And then he'd go and he'd take 8 shots for the next, 4 games combined. So I'm not falling for it. He took a 3 in preseason. I see him shooting less than 20 this season. You really going to get sucked back in by Bam?
100% I am. Every single time. He could be 35 years old on the last year of his deal, and I'm going into that season going, you know what? it's time. He's about to start shooting threes.
Well, you, sir, will continue to be disappointed every single year. Not saying that he can't. It's just for
Let me have this,
I'm not
Anthony.
getting
Let me have this.
excited and hyped. Bro, like you said, they acted like that was the game-winning shot for a championship. Even he put his hands up like this, and he's like, "Oh my God, I hit it!" Whatever. I'm gonna need to see more before I get excited. Until then, I'm chilling. And Royal threw the pause in there. Shout out our guys, Royal A. Shepherd and Adam Barai for joining the stream. I hope they watched the intro in the beginning, the Sepros intro. If not, I will definitely re-put it on Twitter later so they can see, because that was funny. I'm not even gonna lie. Anyways, George, I don't really want to talk about the game specifically too much, at least not during preseason. But kind of the note I want to get into is two of the guys that you mentioned earlier who both balled out in the game versus Brooklyn and the game versus Memphis is Jamal Cain and Nikola Jovic. Go ahead and share some of your thoughts on those guys, man.
We did it again. We did it again. Look, Nikola Jovic coming in as a draft pick. We rarely use our draft picks. So when it comes out and they are, when he shows that much potential, it's just fantastic for us. It really is. As the 27th pick as well, you're not really expecting that much. You can't always get the Desmond Bains of the world, pick 29, the Jimmy Butlers, the Draymond Greens of the world. You can't always achieve that sort of, high production value from that pick. So I'm sitting here saying, and I saw people on Twitter yelling, and don't get me wrong, I'm not one of those people who likes to take preseason and run with it as it's gospel. But 6'11", massive wingspan, can shoot the ball, wants to play point guard, apparently. It's 6'11", which is just incredible. Showed great passing, showed great, physicality. Got 3 blocks in the game against Memphis. It's just such a great thing to see.
The stat sheet. That's what's
killed
impressive.
And I can say the exact same for Cain. Cain absolutely killed it. And I'm not going to ruin too much on that. I don't want to touch on too much on Jamal Cain because we've got more plans for that. But I'm just going to say this. Watch out for Cain. Watch out for that rotation spot.
All right. Before I agree, that's actually a beautiful transition, George, that we did not plan, and that's why they got us paired up together. But before we get into that, before we get into the two-way spots a little bit, I want to try something out here on this very first show in an effort to get, we got 23 great viewers in here. We appreciate all y'all. But in an effort to shamelessly get some publicity for this new show, I want to try out a new segment called Who Dis? Basically, I will show y'all a former random obscure player from Miami Heat history, and the first person to come in and give us the correct answer wins. We'll go ahead and give you a retweet and shout it on stream. So I'm going to preface this. Goes for you too, George. Do not say the player. Do not comment the player in the comments. What we need is the first person to tweet the answer at the Basement Sports Network with the link to this video and the hashtag Witness Weekly will go ahead and win. So, George, I ask you, who dis? Any idea who we're looking at here? I wanted to go ahead and start off easy, so I certainly hope
JJ Barea.
You know who this player is. Did you say JJ Barea?
That is JJ Barea.
What is one similarity this guy and JJ Barea has in common?
Ears. They both have ears. That's the only similarity.
Do you really not know who it is, though?
Oh, no, I know who it is.
Okay. I wanted to start off easy. We got 24 people in here. I will keep.
If you can't get that answer, if you don't know who that is and you don't win the giveaway first.
Certainly. I have a very fond memory of this man on the big three teams. That's a hint. Just laying out and putting, I think it was Lance Stevenson on the floor, which was just beautiful. And quite frankly, that is all this player is remembered for during that time. So again, I'll keep the Twitter open for a while. We'll see if we get someone to come in. We'll get you with a retweet and shout out. Make sure to tweet at the Basement Sports Network the answer, link to this video, and the hashtag Witness Weekly. Moving on, George. I completely agree with everything that you are saying. Jamal Cain has shown that he is a guy that looks like he is Heat culture, what he brings on the defensive end and a little bit of versatility on the offensive end. Right now, the Miami Heat have both two-way spots filled up. We got Marcus Garrett, who I love. I'm sure you love. Everybody else loves as well. No, we'll get into that then. We also got Darius Days, who for some reason has not been playing so much. He got, I think, less than 10 minutes in both of the last two games so far. I'm not sure why. The two guys that have stood out has certainly been Jamal Cain and Jovic, but Jovic won't be on the two-way. So do you see Jamal Cain taking a spot from Marcus Garrett or Darius Days?
I would, for me personally, I keep Darius Days just because of the physical attributes that he brings to the team, having that size as in reserve. and working on that project would be great. He showed great fire, great commitment. He looked decent. He didn't look the worst player I've ever seen. Marcus Garrett, though, if you don't know how to shoot the basketball, then stop shooting the basketball. I don't understand. Like, I
Do you
get
feel
it.
like he overdid it though? I don't
He
feel like-
tried too hard. Like on defense,
Mhm.
fantastic. Absolutely, he's tenacious. He's a great on-ball defender. But we are past the time of Tony Allen type players like that. We are past the time. You need to be able to do it more than once. And Tony Allen was actually a very decent 3-point shooter. Marcus Garrett looks terrible. We're past that.
Let me ask you this then, because this is the question I brought up to one of my boys as well. I didn't mention it initially because I assumed you liked Garrett because of course, we all like the defensive intensity that he brings up there. It's awesome. Offense is a dead zero, but that's a thing you can improve in a young player. So what do you think about potentially giving that final spot to Jamal Cain, who's been very impressive with his shooting? Is that something you'd consider?
Over Kane?
No, over Garrett. Let's say you give Darius Day's spot to Kane and then you give Garrett's spot to Bouye. I don't think they would do it either.
No.
He's been very impressive, but in my opinion, it's much easier to develop an offensive skill set than it is a defensive skill set. And of course, Marcus Garrett already has that. And if he can improve his jumper to even be Pat Beverly-esque, and then you get a guy like him, I think he's a guy that can maybe contribute to this team one day.
He's got a weird hitch in his shot. I'm talking about Garrett. Garrett's got a weird hitch in his shot. If they can work that out, he'll be fine. But I don't think that this team needs another point guard type player in James Bouye that over someone like Marcus Garrett. I think you can do more with Garrett. I'm tossing up between whether you keep Garrett or Days more than Kane. Kane's a given. You have to sign him. That is a two-way player if I've ever seen one. So it's the argument, in my opinion, is between Garrett and Days, and I genuinely don't know. They both showed holes in their game, but good potential as well. But Garrett is a 2-year project for them. They were working on them last year. Mm-hmm. They were working on them this year as well. You know, we got to the office knows something that we don't as well. If he's the man moving forward, then I'm not upset.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'd probably give Days' last spot to Jamal Cain, which is unfortunate because obviously Days had a ton of hype, especially for an undrafted two-way guy coming in. Maybe he's been hurt or something, we don't know. But it's very clear if you're going to go for that kind of wing player, then you want Jamal Cain in there. And I would keep Marcus Garrett as well, just because I don't think they want to let another Patrick Beverly go. So I do agree with you there. Couple things before we get back into it, George, is I do want to shout out the basement's very own Royal A. Shepherd for being the first person to tweet in the correct answer to who dis. He, of course, said Dexter Pittman. My guy, Prod, you were so close, except you said Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman is, of course, the wide receiver for the Indianapolis Colts. So you got the last name right, but you kind of was a little messed up there. But I get you. Happens to me all the time as well. But then do appreciate y'all for tweeting in, man. That was a pretty fun segment. Also, got a couple of donations. Shout out to my guy, Hector Duarte, who simply said, "From Daddy." I have a feeling I know who that's directed at, and she is not in this stream at the moment. Maybe she will watch the replay or I will send it to her on Twitter. But Hector Duarte, we definitely appreciate y'all donation. Also got our guy, Voodoo Vision, who says, Bouye is also a good defender with a great wingspan. That is certainly something I picked up in that last game versus Memphis. Just assuming based off his size, we all kind of assumed he'd be kind of a poor defender. But he played the passing lanes very, very well, jumped passes, and that's because he's quick. And I guess, like you said, he has a great wingspan as well, which is not even something that I realized, but it makes sense because, like I said, he played the passing lanes a lot as well. I do want to get your opinion on this, George, since we talked a lot about Jovic, and we saw that our guy, Fernando Lopez, said Jovic will be starting by January. I certainly don't think we agree on that, but I am curious what you think his role will be on this team come next season or this season.
Oh, it's hard because you don't know what Spo's thinking. That's the entire equation here. Because if Spo believes he can be a more useful piece, we've been talking for weeks. We've been talking for absolute weeks. Who's probably the five-man rotation after our starting five, and in no conversation popped up was Jovic in there. We had someone like Duncan missing it or Dedmon missing it, but to fill one of those rotation spots, take it away from someone like that when you're still completing high school. I don't know how we can assume that. I still believe that he'll get some G League minutes earlier on. Regardless of what we saw and how high his ceiling can be, you still need minutes. You will be going to the G League, in my opinion, and maybe in January, in Feb, then they're gonna call him back. They're gonna get him some real game time as well. At the end of the games, and then if he really shows a lot of potential, Spo won't not pull the trigger to give him more minutes as a rotation player. But I don't see how he can take it over anyone right now.
Yeah. See, I like that. You picked a great middle ground. Our guy like Fernando said he's starting in January. And then we also got a guy like our man Hassan who says, y'all know damn well Spo ain't playing him a single minute this season. Those are the two extremes. I definitely think it's going to lie somewhere in the middle. I like what you said about sending him down to the G League, similar to what they did with Josh Richardson back when he was a rookie. And sure enough, when he came back, he was a much improved player, a much improved shooter. I could see something like that as well. I think Jovic will have a similar role to Precious Achiuwa. I looked it up a little earlier. Precious played 61 games, about 12 minutes a night. I think Jovic will be a little closer to 50 games, around 12 minutes a night. And those roles will come when, a guy's hurt. He'll get some spot minutes. And plus, we usually see in Spo's system, it's the second year where guys really take off, kind of like, Omer Yurtseven, we maybe expect him to do this season, even though he's still slow as all hell. So I'm not so confident on Jovic there. Let's get to some more of these comments here. Shout out to our guy, Justin from the basement, who is a master behind the scenes with all the editing and producing. Said my boys, George and Ant, putting in the work on Saturday. You'd love to see it. Shout out to Justin. We also got, I'm assuming this is our girl Lola from the Heat vs. the World podcast.
Oh, no.
This Heat Lifer guy from UK, isn't it? I will never try to do an accent on this show. It's not something
Please try and do the accent.
No, I'm okay on that, actually. But that was me trying to do the accent, actually. But we do appreciate Lola.
Never do it again.
Well. What happened?
Never do it again.
Oh, no, certainly not. Ever do that again. But anyways, I don't want to really speak about these games too much just because I think it is pretty boring in the preseason. We got 2 preseason games left. Really, all you hope with preseason is that just everybody can stay healthy. So now we're going to go ahead and get into our couple of our segments here. The first segment is one that I like to call, Let's Go. Let's go! Yo, I think we should do it again.
That was
Let's
fake.
Go,
it was a fake shot.
AKA GOAW stands for Greatest of All Week, where George and I will both share our favorite thing to happen this week, whether it's with the NBA, the Miami Heat, or just life in general. George, what do you have as your goal this week?
And this is very hard because we've already talked about, the young guys coming up as well. But this time I'm going to talk about someone potentially coming back. And today the links came out. And an executive has said that Josh Richardson is looking and he's being linked to the Miami Heat.
Oh, I didn't hear this. Oh, do tell. I did not hear this.
If you don't remember Josh Richardson, in the darkest days, when we were handing out contracts like Skittles, just here, you want some, you take one. You have one. Oh, you want 60 million? Here's 60 million. Burning money, as we said. Josh Richardson came out of nowhere and was the starting shooting guard on our team. And he was happy and we were sad to see him go, but we got Jimmy back. Now, everything comes full circle. He didn't work out in Philly, didn't work out in Boston, the Spurs, the Mavericks, you name it. He did not play well at all.
That's true.
But you put him back on this team, you watch what he does.
Bro,
bring him back. Bring him home.
A 3-and-D wing? Oh, my God, bro. Now, listen, he would, I supposedly play a similar role that Gabe Vincent would. Probably not, because Gabe Vincent's probably going to be more of a ball handler, you hope. So if you can still have Jay Rich out there with Depot, the defense on that team, oh, my God. Especially to make up if dudes like Tyler or even Jovic is out there. I mean, Jovic, he kind of held his own on defense, but still, just having a quick guy like Josh Richardson, I did not hear his name is out there, and I would love to see him back, George.
It'd be great. Let's circle back to the old days. I love those days, even though we were winning nothing, but the culture was there. The culture was there.
You said we were sad to see Jay Rich go. I was sad to see him step out of bounds on every single game winner that he took. So I wasn't necessarily as sad as you, as much as I do. You remember when he was doing that, right?
The words "out of bounds" have to be banned from from every stream. We can't talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. It happened yesterday as well. 2 days ago when Max Drew stood out of bounds on a pass. I was so desperately depressed, angry, even irate.
Royal said Jay Rich playing the 4. Boy,
Oh,
not no more. We got our starting point guard, man. His name is Nikola Jovic, baby. Oh my God, he got me hyped, man.
Oh man.
But listen, I do love Jay Rich as much as I love Tim and Winslow. Richardson couldn't stay in bounds on game winners. That used to frustrate me. Anything else for your goal of the week, George? Is that kind of where you want to?
That's gonna have to wrap it up. There hasn't been too much good news. I've had to watch Yet 7 play a fair bit, so that's been pretty upsetting.
That's been disappointing. I'm not sure how big an impact somebody that slow can have on a team. He'll probably end up playing like 15 minutes a night, is my guess. But anyways, I could go basketball related. We could talk about Jamal Cain again, but we've already done that. I could talk about my power finally being on. I was without power for 8 days after Hurricane Ian. And if you are somebody who is still, dealing with that, we're praying for you over there and hope everything gets better. I don't want to complain too much because at the end of the day, I still got my life and the home to be in. But regardless, going without power for 8 days was tough. So I'm glad to have it back. But what I'm going to go with for my goal of the week is what you already saw today, George. In that intro video for this segment where I hit that backwards half-court shot, I was out there for only 20 minutes, by the way. I was only out there for 20 minutes. But man, I was tired by the time I hit that. And I just want to show this video because I had sent that intro to a couple people, and they all thought it was fake. They all thought it was a green screen, which is really respect to my editing at the end of the day. So I do appreciate it. But just to prove to y'all that I actually put in the work to get that intro video, I'm going to show y'all the unedited version right now. Yo, I think we should do it again. Finally!
Was I in there?
Nah, you weren't in there. I was just kidding. No, please. Shout out my dog, David, for filming, dog. Yo, camera about to die, too. I just peeped, man. We got a little audience over there, too, man. Let's get it. Shout out my dog. Y'all can check him out on his YouTube. But he do everything, though. He do photography, singing, rapping, basketball. Well, basketball is a little iffy, but
Chill.
How
shout
dare
out to my boy. What happened?
How dare you speak about his basketball skills when I've seen you ball? Don't you talk.
You very clearly haven't seen me ball. If you don't know,
I've seen it.
Actually, our guy, me and Adam Barai, we got a little bet. Well, a little bet that I want to set up a little one-on-one. Hopefully, we get some good content out of that when he comes back down to South Florida. So y'all stay tuned for that. This is an official call out to the Adam Barai if he is watching this, by the way. But anyways, shout out to my dog, David. I didn't even know he was going to be out there. I just went to the courts and my dog was there. So he helped me rebound, helped me get it done a lot quicker, man. So shout out to him, man. I hope he's watching. But yeah, don't ever ask if it was real. I'm going to put together a blooper reel of the countless misses. And I'll probably put that at Twitter at some point because it's actually pretty funny. But yes, that concludes this segment. Now that we spoke about the good, of course, since we are the basement and some people think that all we do is hate and talk trash, let's go ahead and do a little bit of that. We're going to move on to our next segment called Grinds My Gears. And for that, I'm going to hand it over to Anthony. Thanks, Anthony. You know what really grinds my gears?
Can't hear myself, don't feel myself. I've lost my step, don't feel right.
Yes, sir. Today, you good?
What the hell was that?
By the way, shout out to my homeboy, RadixTheRuler, at RadixTR on Twitter for all the fire music that you all have heard during the show. The intro, the outro y'all hear, that intro, that's my boy. He comes with the fire beats. And it's just to get you hyped, man. Get you angry. To tell the crowd, tell the audience, what grinds your gears, George? Tell me something from this past week that just really, really bothered you.
As we all know, we had a UFC fight in the NBA that we did a collab. And Draymond Green decided to show out his phenomenal knockout skills. He's got, he's being added to the UFC database as we speak. Dana White's in talks right now, so that's going to be fantastic to see him fight. Someone in his first fight. That's going to be great. But what is not great is the fact that I have seen on multiple times Draymond Green in trade packages to the Miami Heat. Where in the world do you think we are going to get the money he's 3 years into a 4-year deal. He's going to make another $53 million by the end of his deal. Where do you think the money comes from when we just paid all these players this sort of money? I'm disgraced. I don't want him here. I don't want to even think about the possibility of us trading anyone to get him. He's making $53 million in 2 years. I don't want it. Get that away from me. That grinds my gears.
I'm a little bit iffy on it, but I will play devil's advocate here, which is a great transition here too, because my guy Khalil, who just said, I still think it's fake regarding the shot. That is someone who can say it, because I've played ball with this man hundreds and hundreds of times. And now that I know he's in the stream, if I talk about how good I am, he will call me out. So I'm cool a little bit on that. But anyways, I was having a discussion with him on text over the other day. And I said, Khalil, I said, imagine a lineup of Kyle Lowry. Let's go with Gabe, Vic, Jimmy, Draymond, Bam. I said, who's scoring on that? And he said, there's no spacing. I said, I know. But I said, they're not giving up more than 60 points, George. I think that team can win a championship when you have that level of defenders out there on the court. Do you put no credit to that?
No, because it's not possible that you can put the worst shooting lineup that the league will see. Not just that lineup makes $100 million, by the way.
Yeah. Yes, it does.
From 3 players. That is Lowry, Draymond, and Jimmy.
Well, I didn't say Lowry. I said Gabe Vincent. Maybe they probably would have to trade Lowry to get him, or Duncan. But
I'm not trading Lowry to get him. I don't care. That is my PG1. We're rooting for him. We couldn't trade him before. We're going to have to trade him soon. But until then, he's my PG1. He's my QB1, sorry. And he's not going anywhere.
So no stock into Draymond Green to Miami.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Yeah,
I'm going to get a Draymond tattoo if he get. I'm so sure that he will not be coming to this team that I will put a tattoo on myself if he does.
Royal,
I'll get Donkey from Shrek.
Excellent points. You are the one who just said that Bam Adebayo is now the second coming of Steph Curry, making it perfect to pair with Draymond Green.
Get out of here.
I'm gonna move on.
Move on.
We got another dono from a great listener. This is from my guy Santi Goated Gaming. Actually, I've seen he has his own YouTube channel, does some Battlefield content. Y'all can check him out. He said, loving the new show. We greatly appreciate the dono, man. Glad y'all tuning in. We hope y'all doing it, enjoying it as well. I'm going to move in to my grinds my gears, which is something that I will probably do multiple times this season, every time the Miami Heat play this man. So, first game of the preseason, they matched up against the Minnesota Timberwolves, who made a big splash this offseason, trading all of their picks, ruining the trade market to get the biggest bum in the NBA, Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert grinds my gears, George. I have been saying for years how this dude is a bum. He's not a good defender. He's a big man who's allowed to hack people in the paint. And they say, oh, verticality, the old Roy Hibbert rule. And for that reason alone, people think he's a good defender. Now, just recently, people started, kind of catching on to that, which finally is about time. But the fact that this man is still in all the power rankings for Defensive Player of the Year just blows my mind. Every single time is the most important point of the game, especially in the playoffs. He gets played off the court because he is not a good defender. He's a good shot blocker, and there's a difference. And even at that, he's allowed to stand in the paint all day, hack people, foul them, and just gets no calls because he has this reputation. For what reason? I have no idea. Does anybody even know who Terrence Mann was before 2 years ago? No. The answer is no. And that man single-handedly played Rudy Gobert off the court because Rudy Gobert is a bum. The fact people think that he is a better defender than Bam Adebayo, we saw Curry on Gobert. It is one of the funniest clips in NBA history. We've also seen Bam Adebayo completely lock down Curry, completely lock down Kyrie, Bradley Beal. Not to mention that Rudy Gobert is one of the biggest crybabies in the NBA. Doesn't make an all-star team? Oh, cries. Doesn't win Defensive Player of the Year? Oh, cries. What? 3 is not good enough for you? There is nobody in NBA history that I hate more than Rudy Gobert, and he grinds my gears, George. Your thoughts?
He's actually one of the best defenders of all time. He actually blocked the league from playing for about 8 months. That was something, or 6 months.
How did I forget when he shut down the league?
Everything you described there,
when he shut down the entire league, George.
Everything you described there was literally Joel Anthony. That's what you just said.
Yeah.
You've just described Joel Anthony. Are you calling that? Are you calling Gobert Joel Anthony?
I love Joel Anthony. I'm not even going to give. Joel Anthony knew his role. He wasn't out there crying when he didn't win Defensive Player of the Year or All-Star games, talking trash about Whiteside back in the day when Whiteside was still actually good. When he's like, sometimes players just care about their stats. I think Fournier said that, and he's like Blancote. And low-key, that's why I started hating Gobert. But then when I actually started watching him and saw how much of a bum he is, who gets played, how can you get played off the court because of your defense and then win Defensive Player of the Year? He is my least favorite player of all time, and he really, really grinds my gears. And I'll probably give the same rant again when they play Minnesota next, especially since they'll probably lose to Minnesota.
And we will lose again.
But 1,000% we will lose.
We are going to lose that game.
1,000%.
Because when Caleb Martin starts and Cat finds him in the post, we are going to have an injury problem on our hands. And that's when Nikola Jovic comes out of the G League and plays 35 minutes.
You want to book it in Minnesota?
Now. Book it now.
We'll go ahead and make a mental note of that. Let's also shout out this funny comment from Santi, who said he's calling Kevin Hart to guard Kyle Lowry. Listen, man, I've been defending Kyle Lowry for a little bit over here. That clip of Kevin Hart blocking him certainly doesn't help my case. But all I've ever said about Lowry is he's not ass. He provides some value, and people are acting like he's trash.
Lowry's
the
all
same
ass.
way about Ben Simmons. You think he's ass?
No, but like you said, Lowry. What did you say about Lowry just then? He's ass.
Well, he got ass. He
is all ass.
He's all ass, but he's not ass.
100% ass.
Of course, Roy will come back in here and saying he is ass. Listen, man, I want to talk about someone else people think is ass too, like Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is not ass. He's a guy who has his flaws, and because he has some major flaws, they think he's ass. But he's a talented player at the end of the day who adds some value, similar to Lowry. That's all.
Boo. He's trash.
Ben Simmons hater. Well, listen, man, can we at least agree on Rudy Gobert, or do I have to fight you?
No, that's fine. I'll take it.
Okay.
Heads
up.
I'll concede.
There will be a similar rant when the Heat play Kyrie Irving and when the Heat play Devin Booker and when the Heat play Paul George, because those are the four guys that really grind my gears. But I'll leave that as an ending to that segment where we go ahead and go on and move to our final segment of the week. This one is basically just our bet of the week. So I'm going to break this down for y'all. Essentially, every single week, George and I will bet on a player prop and we'll guess a number. For example, we'll say Jimmy Butler points. We'll guess how many points. And at the end of the week, we'll tally up how many points he had for that week. And whoever had the closest guess wins. So first, we're going to go ahead and start by bringing our wheel of punishments up here. So we got a little bit of a wheel of punishments where we're going to go ahead and start from the beginning here. And I'm going to go ahead and give it a spin and see what we land on. We got some interesting stuff here. It is still a work in progress. Some will happen live on stream. Some will happen in, videos that are recorded later. And the first one we got says, shower in cold water with your clothes on while reciting the college of every Heat player. So that is, as George seems a little iffy on that. I read him the punishments. I don't know why he sounds surprised. But anyways, that is certainly one of the wackier punishments. I was struggling with creativity when coming up with these
this week.
So, but you know why that's good, George? We'll go ahead and get it out of the way. So, George, I'm going to leave it to you to pick. And obviously, there's a lot riding on this, unless you want to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it up to you to pick our first player prop of the week. Keep in mind, within the next week, the Miami Heat have 2 games, both preseason games, one versus the Houston Rockets and one versus somebody else who I don't have up currently. But 2 games. Go ahead and pick our player prop. We got a game versus the Rockets and game versus New Orleans.
Well, I'm going to think about who's actually going to play in those games because we don't know who's going to be resting for preseason. We don't know if Bam's going to come back, Jimmy, or any of the 3,700 guys we had on the injury list that say are going to play. So I'm going to pick Jamal Cain.
Jamal Cain. And which statistical category would you like to guess for Jamal Cain?
Rebounds. I'm going to go rebounds.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead. We got 2 games out there. Figure he probably plays a lot of the game. Figure maybe he gets... All right. I got my number. You got your number?
I got my number.
I'm going to go that Jamal Cain will have 15 rebounds in the next 2 games.
I had 11.
You got 11 rebounds? Okay.
11.
I'm going to go ahead and put that into the public comments here so everyone can see. We got Ants. We got Cain with.
If he gets 10 in the first game, if he gets 10 in the first game,
if he gets 10 the first game, he gets
I swear I would want one more, and he will instantly. I would want him shipped off the court. I will call somebody to take him off the floor.
So we got our bets in there, and of course, this will obviously be one that we will record, and then we'll try to get it to y'all on the next episode or the episode after that. Obviously, depending on when we find out how many rebounds he does get. So that'll be a fun segment. We'll see how it goes. We'll go ahead and eliminate that from the wheel as well, so we can kind of get some different ones. There are some really, really interesting ones on the wheel. So I look forward to doing that segment.
Spin it again. Spin it one more time. Let's see what else there is.
All right. We'll give the people one more look. We'll give the people one more look just to see what interesting bets we have coming up. Just to stay tuned, draw some interest. Hopefully, we get one of the better ones. We got simply tweet something of the other players choosing.
I'm gonna ruin your account.
Another basic one, but some of the ones I know I put on there is we got like go out in public and get a stranger to subscribe to the basement. We got do 25 push-ups live on stream. I think we got, this was George's idea, take 2 shots of tequila and then like sprint down the streets. Which, what's more Miami than just taking 2 shots of tequila and sprinting outside like a wild man. So we got
not going to fly here. I will definitely go to prison for public intoxication for sure. For sure.
So of course the first one we got again is Jamal Cain rebounds. I'm going with 15 rebounds. George is going with 11. And we'll have that video to y'all at some point based off who wins that bet. I do want to shout out the beautiful Amaya Cruz, who is of course my lovely girlfriend, who just recently got her ACL operated on by the same doctor who did D Wade, actually, true story. And she said she will still cross you. I'm assuming she's talking about you or herself. No, herself, obviously. She's saying she will still cross me after ACL surgery. No doubt about that. She's
talking about me. She's talking about me.
Listen, I learned one thing very early in my relationship with this beautiful woman. Never, ever doubt her. That is also some great advice. All my other cuffed gentlemen and ladies in here should take that advice as well.
Cuffed?
Never doubt the other person. Only make that mistake 100 times, but never again. We do appreciate the $1.99 donation as well, and I'll see you soon. Moving on, George. This is the last thing that I want to talk about this week. Now, we did do our bet of the week, which is, of course, a player prop. But George and I discussed doing a long season bet with a giant payout at the end, hopefully for somebody. Now, what's on the line is, as you and I know, George, surprisingly, no comments about this today, which is greatly appreciated. But George and I are both known as the 2 white boys with the horrendous mustaches, as you can see here, a little close up. The loser of the bet, as we get a beautiful zoom in it. Chill out, my girl's watching, George. Relax, dog. Damn.
Sorry.
Listen.
I'm sorry.
The loser of the bet will have to shave their mustache at the end of the season. And the bet that George and I decided on, what seed will the Miami Heat finish to end the season? I picked 1 through 5. And George, you're guessing what? 6 through 10?
6 through 10. I'm banking on that 6. I'm banking on that 6.
I certainly don't feel super comfortable about my bet because I believe the Cleveland Cavaliers will be in there. You still got the Chicago Bulls. You got the 76ers, Boston. I was going to say Brooklyn, but I think they're bums. But regardless, who else? Milwaukee, Toronto will be up there. Atlanta just got DeJounte Murray. There's a lot of teams that can arguably push Miami out of that top 5, especially when considering that the Heat they don't care about the regular season anyways. We all know that. But that's the bet. I'll maybe get some graphics or something. I got to put something up on this whiteboard. So if y'all got suggestions for what I could be putting up there, let me know. Actually, I'm in the living room now because my room didn't have any Wi-Fi, but I still got the Fire Ray Allen background. I know you like that.
I'm stealing that for sure. I'm buying one that's going to cover the entire of this wall straight back to front. It's going to be just a Ray Allen shot.
I wanted that, but it cost a couple $100. So I was like, I'll go with the little one back here, but it's still fresh. But yeah, that's the final season long bet. George thinks the Heat will finish 6 through 10. I have the Heat finishing 1 through 5. The loser will shave their mustache on stream at the end of the season, and we'll probably remind y'all each week once the regular season started, kind of how that bet is coming along. Anyways, George, do you have any final remarks before we get out of here?
Join a season long because it's going to be a great show. I feel like these punishments they're going to get worse and worse and worse. I'm going to get very tired very quickly.
Yeah, and my guy Khalil says, isn't losing a bet supposed to be a punishment, not a good thing?
Every pick closer to Victor Wembanyama that we get to is a better future for this team.
I think he was referencing how the punishment is us shaving our mustaches and looking much better than we presently do.
How dare you? I worked hard on this, okay? I worked really hard on this. Leave me alone.
Regardless, though, man, we greatly appreciate y'all for tuning in. I think this was a really fun first episode, and hopefully the higher ups welcome us back for another weekend. And we'll see y'all probably either Friday, Saturdays, or Sundays, depending on when the Heat play. And I also do want to shout out my guy, RadixTheRuler, at RadixTR, who did all the music you heard during today. Intro, outro, and the Grind My Gears segment. And that being said, we're going to go ahead and roll the outro and get out of here. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. We'll see y'all next time. Take it easy.
Look, pull up in your city, tryna get that dead face. Do it on my own, I don't need no dead weight. Right? Had to kill him off, yeah, I need a head space. You know this homegrown bitch don't offend me. Better watch your tone, bet I take your love now.